Hi, I'm Tyson with Adventure Rig, and I'm going to be installing this Vanasche case saver onto my KTM 890 Adventure. I wanted to show you the step-by-step process that's involved to get this onto the bike. This kit does come with all of the hardware that you're going to need. However, you'll want to supply your own tools, specifically a 4mm Allen wrench, a 6mm Allen wrench, a T30 Torx bit, as well as medium strength blue thread locker and a torque wrench. To start the install, I'm going to first need to remove this shift linkage arm, and that's held on with a T30 Torx bolt. With the shift arm linkage moved out of the way, I now have to remove this plastic cover that we're going to be replacing. This is held on with 3 T30 Torx bolts. You won't be reusing any of those bolts that you removed from this stock plastic cover. Now with that cover off, you can see that we have this sensor underneath it that's held on with 2 4mm Allen bolts. We're going to go ahead and remove those now. With the stock bolts removed, we're now going to install this sensor cover plate that's provided with the kit. It is important to note that there is an orientation on this, and you want to make sure that it's orientated correctly when installing. For the install of this plate, you'll be using 2 M5 bolts as well as 2 washers and 2 spacers. Now the correct order for this is the bolt, then a flat washer, the plate, and after that, the spacer. Prior to install, put a couple drops of blue thread locker medium strength onto the bolts so that they don't back out. After the plate is installed, you're ready to loosely install the case saver. If you flip it over onto the back side, you'll find that you have 2 large empty holes. This is where you're going to be installing the larger spacers. You can go ahead and drop those into place. At this point, take 2 M5 bolts and apply a small amount of blue thread locker, and then put the case saver in place and thread the bolts in, but don't tighten them all the way down. You're now ready to insert this chain slider between the engine and the case saver. You will see that there's a shorter side and a longer side. You want to make sure that the short side points forward. With the chain slider in place, I can now insert my M8 bolt with a small amount of thread locker applied. The case saver is designed to rest snug against the stator cover. So prior to tightening the bolts down, go ahead and push it forward, and at this point, you can tighten all of the bolts down. The 2 M5 bolts are tightened to 65 inch-pounds, and the M8 bolt is tightened to 175 inch-pounds. You're now ready to reinstall your shift linkage. Apply, again, a small amount of medium strength thread locker, thread it into place, and tighten it down. With the case saver on, you're now ready to rip. If you guys have any questions about the install or any other comments, please leave them below and we'll get back to you. Now, Callie and I are going to be taking our bikes down to Central America. If you'd like to follow along, please join us on Instagram and Facebook at Adventure Rig. Thanks again for watching. I'm Tyson with Adventure Rig.